I've really been kind of incommunicado. I went to visit my sisters in the U.S. and I was in Wyoming where there's very little. We're in the mountains, 9,000 feet above sea level. That's where my sister lives, and there's not much internet there. They try to disconnect from the world, so that's why they go there and live there. But so I wasn't there. I was there, and then when I got back to Manila, I tested positive for COVID when I landed. So I had COVID for about 6 or 7 days, and I was in isolation. So I finally got back to the team and started coaching with Ginebra on Monday. So that was my first time, and then so it's only been 1 week since I've been back with Ginebra. So like I said, then people were asking me for interviews during that time, and I kept saying I'm under protocols, without saying the word COVID, but I had COVID. So now I'm good. Anybody can kiss me now if you want, so without fear of infection. But you're going to get tired holding that up like that. You got big arms. Well, fire away. Anybody want to ask anything, or you want to just talk, or what? You know me, I can talk forever.
Any update on Justin and his sanction?
Oh, I have. That's the one information I don't have anything on. I haven't spoken to him. We were hoping he was going to come in a couple days ago or yesterday, but something happened with his flight. Something happened personally. I'm not sure what it was, but he didn't make the flight, and but we're still waiting to hear from what I'm not involved in that process of talking to the SBP and talking to obviously FIBA or WADA or whoever we have to talk to. That's not part of my my role. So I really don't know what's going on. I was informed that we were going to get some kind of ruling this last week, and nothing came down. So I'm not sure where it's going to go from at this point. My role has been, I've got to, keep working with Ginebra and doing the best I can for them. I feel terrible for Justin, and I feel terrible that we're not being able to bring him back to this conference so he can defend his championship. And I feel terrible for the players because they absolutely love Justin. But bottom line is, at this point, we have to move forward from that. And I was tasked we're looking for another import. Once we heard this might happen, and one of the first guys we thought of was Tony Bishop, only because we knew Tony from our series that we had against him in the finals. When you play a championship series against another team, you really get to know about that team. You get to know about those players. You know their strengths. You know their weaknesses. You even get to see how they interact with their teammates, and how well they adjust, and to the coaches and everything. And everything we saw in Tony Bishop was positive to us, and so he seemed a real logical choice for us to bring in because of his versatility. And his ability to work with teammates and be a good teammate. He's very unselfish, and he does a lot of the dirty work, and those are the imports that we kind of pride ourselves in. He's not Justin. Nobody's going to be Justin. I hate that people make the comparisons, and in some way I think it's kind of a little bit fair. In terms of perspective, but a lot of people compare Justin to Michael Jordan in terms of our league and the things he does and the things he's accomplished with us. And so, it's like in the NBA, you can't compare anybody to Michael Jordan. Anytime you try to compare him to Michael Jordan, it's an unfair comparison because he's the greatest of all time. And I think at this point, Justin has can almost justify that label of greatest of all time import. So it'd be unfair to measure anybody up to Justin. Everybody's going to fall short. So I think that's the thing that we're grasping as a team. The guys at Ginebra, they're understanding that we're going to find the strengths and use the strengths of Tony as the best we can, and that's what we have in front of us. We're not going to lose a game and turn around and say, if we only had Justin, or he misses a shot, and we don't want to say, oh, Justin would have made that shot. That's not fair, and that gives us a built-in excuse, and we don't want to use any excuses. So we expect to go out and compete for a championship, and we think Tony will be a huge part of that. In the meantime, we will do everything in our power from an organization, Ginebra, to get Justin cleared and back playing again. And I know that we've got full commitment from the SBP and from the whole San Miguel group. They're doing everything they can at this point to get him back into to playing again. But at this point, that's out of our control. So what we can control is making sure Tony comes in and we get him to be a good fit with us. And we think he will be.
Coach, what was the team's initial reaction with the first practice sessions with Tony?
Oh, wow. I mean, it was great. Tony was awesome in the first practice. Again, there was no surprises because we know him really well. Christian had to guard him basically one-on-one that whole series, and we felt that series was won and lost on Christian's ability to guard him and to adjust as he went along, and so again, I think we know him very intimately, so there was no surprises when he walked in. I think the whole team had a real positive feel for him coming in, and then his first day he was great. He was unselfish, scored what he needed to do. He was defending, he was rebounding, all the things that you want from a really good import he was doing. And we had a practice game against Northport. He played well in that practice game. So we're all firing in all cylinders. We're really happy that he's here, and I think the players are extremely happy he's here. I don't think we could have picked a better player to replace Justin at this point for this particular reason.
Coach, based on the merits of the case, do you think are you confident that?
I have first of all, I wouldn't want to comment on it because I don't know the legal parts of it all. I don't want to say something that might trigger something from the SPP or from the FIBA that would get anybody angry or mad at this point. And I think that's been our approach the whole time. We have not talked about it a lot publicly because we are waiting. It's we're waiting for FIBA to do it. Once FIBA comes down with a decision, then I'm sure we'll have some ready comments to make. But at this point, we don't want to do anything to jeopardize whatever might happen at this point. So that's kind of that subject on Justin's kind of off the table for us.
Was it the perfect time for you to get Maverick and Macy coming off a breakout season?
Yeah, we had, it's given us extra time, not with me, but with the coaching staff. It's given the coaching staff extra time with him. Like I said, this is uncharted territory for me. I haven't coached Ginebra for 5.5 months. Really, I haven't been with the team for 5.5 months, except a couple of on-tour games where I went to the locker room, and that's it. I haven't been to practices. I haven't done anything for 5.5 months, and that just, great credit to Coach Richard while I was gone in the World Cup, and then Coach Olsen when Richard and I were gone in the Asian Games. He kept it all going, and I think from watching our practice game and watching us in practice, Maverick has had a really smooth transition. He's naturally gifted. He's a naturally smart player. He's a point guard, so he sees the game really well. But he's so far shown such a smooth transition into our system, and that doesn't usually happen, and that takes a lot of good coaching. And you got to give credit to Coach O and Coach Richard for getting him into the lineup and teaching him. Plus, he won the most improved player, so that's awesome.
Coach, about Gilas, have the SPP spoken to you about anything about the national coaching
No,
position?
no, there has been no talking, no mention. I did see Mr. Panlilio tonight, and he said that he will contact me and we will talk. But but it's not about the position. It's just about a general vision on how the program is going to move forward. I think he wants to just get some of my ideas, but no, there's been no talk, and like I've been saying a couple times publicly already, that's a very complex question because there's not a simple answer for that because there's so many things that go on in terms of how the vision is going to be done. And like I said, it was a simple answer for me to do the Asian Games because it was like I'm going to do it from here to here, and it's very finite. And we had a full vision. We knew what we wanted to do and how we wanted to do it. There was a lot of stops and goes and ups and downs along the way, but we just continued to roll with the punches. That was one of our things. We said amongst the team, we said we just got to be like Manny Pacquiao. That's we talked about that a lot. We got to be like Manny, and just guys come at it. Things happen to us. He throws a punch. We get hit. We just got to keep rolling and keep moving forward. And that's kind of what we did. But that was very from start to end. Now it's very open-ended. How are things going to work? Where are we going? If you're going to be in the conference, and then how are you going to do the window? You're going to give it 2 weeks before, or do you want to hire someone full time? Is there enough work for full-time head coach of the national team? I think we only have 2 or 3 windows next year. There's no World Cup. There's no Asian Games. I don't think there's even a Southeast Asian Games next year. So is there enough work for a full-time coach to do that stuff? And all the players that full-time coach is supposed to coach all those players are going to be playing in the PBA or in Japan or in Korea. He's not going to have access to those unless the league shuts down. And how long can the league shut down to do a 1 weekend window? So those are very complex questions, and there's no simple answers for them, and those need to be decided before you decide who's going to lead that team. And so that's what I'm saying. It's asking right now that's something that needs to be answered. It's too complex of a question to give a simple yes or no to at this point. So the idea was for me to do the Asian Games, and now they have the time after the Asian Games until the next window to decide who they want and how they want to lead into the next phase of the Gilas team. Did I make sense at all? Sometimes I just talk and it spills out, and I don't know if it's making sense or not. Sometimes my brain is making sense. I don't know if my mouth is making sense. Did it? Good.